Guys, welcome to the YouTube channel. So over on my Instagram yesterday I asked you guys, ask me questions, what you want to know, juicy details, anything, ask away, and I'm going to answer them today. So you can imagine I got about 301 of the same message, so don't you worry, I will be answering that. But yeah, I'm going to go through, I haven't even picked any to be honest, so I'm going to have a look through now with you guys. So I've got my, oh nearly knocked it over, peanut butter chocolate protein smoothie. Wow, literally obsessed. I'm trying to cut down on coffee since leaving the villa because I just indulged in way too much coffee. Okay, let's start with, okay, these are kind of the same questions. So how have you been since leaving the villa, or how have you adjusted since leaving the villa? So life outside of the villa is very strange. I mean, you're in this bubble for so long. And first of all, I want to say I've had people commenting on my videos like, you were in there for 5 minutes, like shut up. I was out in South Africa for about 5 weeks. So when I came home and I saw my friends and family, I had been away for a long time. So FYI, people giving me hate being like, you were only away for a week. I was not. It's a weird adjustment. You go from being in this bubble to then suddenly leaving the villa, being exposed to the outside world. People are talking about you and people have an opinion on you, and now suddenly everything you do, somebody has an opinion on, and that's quite hard to adjust to. Who was your best friend in the villa? I would say I was closest to Lana in the villa, but literally from the minute I walked in there, we got on so well and we were just always laughing together, just laughing at stuff that nobody else found funny, but we were absolutely dying. She's literally the most unreal, genuine girl you'll ever meet, and she's fucking hilarious. But to be honest, everyone in there got on really well with Tanya, Olivia, Sammy, even Claudia. Like, I've had loads of questions which I'll go on to in a minute about Claudia. But we all got on really well. Seeing as I touched on the Claudia question, I've had loads of questions all along the same kind of lines. So are you friends with Claudia? How do you feel about the Claudia situation? Blah, blah, blah. They're all kind of along the same lines. So I'll wrap it up into one. Claudia and I actually got on really well. So despite the situation, me and her actually really got on, and I don't think it was shown. Because since I've come out, I've had a lot of people saying to me like, did you get on with her? Like, how was it? Claudia and I put the situation aside, and to be honest, more on her because, you know, she was the one that also liked the boy and I was the girl that came and, you know, coupled up with somebody else. So she handled the situation so well, and me and her actually built a really good friendship aside. And I'm really glad that we did that because she's a great girl and we get on really well. She's hilarious, she's really fun to hang out with, and I would have been really gutted if we couldn't be friends. I think she's an amazing girl and I actually genuinely don't have a bad word to say about her. So yeah, I think that wraps that up quite nicely. You know, and I hate that this message is no longer available because it was unsent. I literally hate it when people do that. It stresses me out. Because now I want to know. What was your favourite challenge? My favourite challenge was probably the cocktails one. Like, it was so funny. Like, I don't know if they I haven't watched any of this back, so I don't know if they've shown it, but I literally slid off the whole thing. So Casey was like to me, right, just slide next time. So I was like, okay. So I was slid on my front and I just went for it and I just didn't stop. I don't know why I didn't put my hands out to stop me. He didn't stop me and I literally just went straight into the bucket and off the thing. Broke the helmet thing that had the glasses on, the glass snapped off. And it was just so funny. Like, how did you feel coming in as a late bombshell? Would you have preferred to come in earlier? Coming in as a bombshell in general is daunting because you're walking into an environment where these people have known each other for however long. So, and obviously for me, I came in quite late, so everyone had built those connections and also the friendships as well. So it definitely is daunting. So I think I would have found coming in earlier would have, I think, just allowed me to be more myself. I would have get to know people a bit more. I would have had more of an opportunity to kind of explore things and settle in, I guess. Like, did you apply or were you approached? So I was actually approached. I was approached for a previous series and I turned it down, and it was actually the summer one, and then it came up again this time. I just thought, you know what, why not? This is literally a once in a lifetime opportunity. What do you miss most about your job before Love Island? Do you know what, the people, I literally loved the team that I worked with, and I actually really enjoyed my job. So I was sad to leave, and I think they were sad to see me go as well. They've all told me that. So yeah, no, I do miss just working with everyone. Obviously, the question everybody is wanting to know is, what happened with Casey? Did you and Casey split before the reunion? Was it a mutual decision between you and Casey? Etc, etc. So I'm going to touch on what happened. First of all, we were never a couple. Yes, obviously we were coupled up together, but it was very, very early days anyway, so we were never actually together anyway. So I think it wasn't like feelings were really, really invested, and it really wasn't that deep. So I think we both kind of feel mutually about the situation. Inside the villa, I obviously questioned whether it was one-sided. I did feel like a lot of the time it was me pulling Casey for a chat, and I felt like he wanted to spend more time with the boys. That was something we addressed in the villa. I kind of left it as that, and I thought we'll see what it's like outside of the villa. We obviously spent a week together in South Africa after we left the villa, and things were quite different then. I mean, we didn't actually really spend that much time together, but we had just both got our phones back. So I kind of made an excuse for it and just thought, well, you know, he's catching up with friends and family, so am I. And then coming back to the UK, I mean, we barely spoke, if I'm honest. We were both with friends and family, and that's fine. But for me, I think, you know, I did reach out and I didn't really hear anything back, and I felt like there was no effort made. I think the doubts that I had in the villa became very apparent when we left Love Island, and I feel like it just confirmed what I was thinking. So yes, that is basically the situation wrapped up. But yes, nothing romantically will be happening going forward. The other question that my DMs have gone crazy for is Keenan. Do you wish you coupled up with Keenan? Are you going to chat to Keenan now? You should definitely slide into Keenan's DMs. Keenan, Keenan, Keenan. That's the rest of what my DMs are like. Do you regret not giving Keenan a chance? Yes, I do. There we go, I said it. I said it, I do. I do regret it very much. I think for Keenan and I found him attractive from the first day I met him. So we actually met before we went into the villa. We did some filming for After Sun and things like that together. So we did actually meet before, about two or three times. And I really did fancy him. I found him very attractive. Obviously, bombshell and bombshell going in together, you're not going in to get to know each other. So when we went into the villa, I think we kind of went separate ways in terms of like romantically, and he was getting to know the girls, I was getting to know the boys, and we built a really, really solid friendship. Like, he was probably the closest person to me in the villa. We had this amazing foundation, and you know, when I did speak to him, we would be speaking about the, you know, the boy or the girl that we were getting to know. So we never really got to know each other on that level. And if there was any time that we were spending together or like not, then we got separated. So we didn't actually spend that much time together, like getting to know each other in that way. One thing since leaving the villa is, I didn't know, but Keenan actually got the go-ahead by the producers to get to know me. However, I didn't get that go-ahead. So when the whole terrace conversation came up, I obviously knew he found me attractive, and he knew I found him attractive, but I really wasn't expecting it at that time. I just don't know, we always went and had debriefs together, and that's kind of what I thought we were doing. So I was shocked at the situation, and I obviously knew we weren't allowed to really get to know each other. So I was shocked that he had said it, and it was just the whole thing, to be honest. And then I just made it awkward by laughing, and then I got the giggles and I couldn't stop laughing. So I wasn't laughing at him at all, it was just the situation. Because the way that I felt in that moment was, the whole situation with Claudia had just happened, and it, you know, had blown up into a drama, and I'd upset somebody by picking Casey, and then Casey had a decision between Claudia and then he picked me, and I felt like then if I went and said, actually, I'm now going to get to know somebody else, I kind of didn't want to create that. And obviously he left the next day, so it was just shit timing, to be honest. But saying that, I wish I did now, because I do really regret it. And maybe I haven't slid into his DMs. Oh God. Put his number, like I don't even have to slide into the DMs. But yes, we have spoken, and that's all I'm going to say on that. Just missed my straw. Were the girls cliquey when you first came in? Did you feel like the girls left you out? Yes and no. So obviously walking into a girl group is quite intimidating anyway, but I think the situation made it worse. I had to go in and I had to couple up with somebody, which then led to Claudia being upset. So I think that kind of did create a bit of a divide. Obviously the girls' priority was Claudia. She was upset. She had obviously built a connection with Casey, and I'd come in and kind of taken that away from her. So I completely get why the girls not sided, because they didn't side, but I kind of get why their priority was to make sure she was okay. Claudia was upset, and the girls were only, comforting her and making sure she was okay. There was no like intentions for them to make me feel unwelcome, but obviously going in there and causing a bit of a disruption and then not really having anyone to speak to was hard. Things in there blow over so quickly, like I can't explain it, but any issue that there is or situations, they blow over so quickly. So by like the 4th day, I'd even forgotten what had happened on the 1st or 2nd day. What did you have for breakfast? So we didn't actually film that much in the morning. So then by the time that you're like ready and you've gone outside, lunch is pretty much ready. And obviously we kind of stopped filming for lunch. I mean, we don't ever stop filming. It's really hard to explain. We don't ever stop filming, but they're obviously not going to air that footage because we're with Villa producers, girls and boys are separate, and we're talking about anything but the show. So yeah, so I ended up having my breakfast then. Do you wish you went in as an OG instead of a bombshell? No, I actually don't. I really liked going in as a bombshell. I just kind of wish I got to go in a little bit earlier and get to know everyone a bit better than I did. Saying that, there was actually nobody in there that I would have got to know at the time, if you know what I'm saying. So yeah, no. Do you think there could have been something with Keenan if you weren't both bombshells? How did you girls deal with periods in the villa? So for me personally, I don't actually get a period, so I didn't have to deal with it, thank God. They just kind of got on with it, really. I mean, I think everyone in there, you become so close anyway. Nothing's kind of like, not that it should be embarrassing at all or anything anyway, but it was just like normal, like nobody cared. You just kind of like dealt with it like you would on the outside. Obviously everyone has up and down days anyway, like regardless as to whether they're due on or not. So yeah, it was fine. Like it wasn't like no one seemed to have an issue or anything. What's the alcohol limit per night? We got 1 drink a night, and you got either wine or Prosecco or beer. Do you have an opinion on the hate Olivia's getting? Look, I think trolling is disgusting anyway. I think somebody that's going to sit there and write something personal about you. I mean, I've had it done to me since I've come out or when I was in there, People need to remember it's a TV show, and I really don't think people understand that. You guys see an hour, it's not even an hour, it's 45 minutes out of an entire day split between 12 people. Like you really, really don't see what actually goes on. They're making a TV show, like they want drama. They're gonna show the worst parts, like of course they are. So I think people need to remember that before they start giving hate. I think if you watch the show versus like the unseen bits on the Saturday, you really see how different it is. And the majority of the time, our day was like the unseen bits. We were having fun, we were messing around, we were laughing. There wasn't always drama. In TV, there's always villains and there's always heroes, and that's kind of how it works, and you're kind of one or the other. So I think people need to remember that sometimes the way people are portrayed on there isn't necessarily a reflection of who they are as a person. Was it hard not having your phone in the villa? I really thought I was going to struggle not having my phone, but I literally didn't at all. Like I said earlier, you adjust to life really quickly in there. Obviously nobody else is on their phone, so you kind of don't even really think about it. And there's all these new people that you're getting to know, and you're having chats with people, and then you've got challenges, and you're kind of distracted. So yeah, it didn't bother me at all. I put my drink down now, I've finished it. I've got this one bit of hair that's just straight and it's driving me insane. So if I keep looking at it, that's why. How many times was the camera off and what did you guys do? So the camera was never off. You are quite literally filmed 24/7. Even on a down day, you're still mic'd up, you're still filmed. So yeah, there was never a time where the cameras were off as such. So I'm just gonna do a couple more questions. Why are you so ugly? Why do people ask stuff like this? Okay, do you feel like you were a victim of edited clips in the villa and made out to be a bad girl? Bad girl. Yes and no. So I haven't watched it back, so I can't like comment on the whole thing, but I've seen clips and stuff that I've been tagged in, or videos on TikTok and things like that. And I do feel like I came across as not as how I am. So I feel like the parts of me that are like, the parts of me that are really nice and really caring and like helping other people and things like that, I don't really feel like that was shown as far as I'm aware. So I can comment on that properly once I've watched it back, if I watch it back. But yeah, from what I've seen and like my entrance and stuff like that, and me speaking to the girls, I feel like it was kind of cut that I seemed quite harsh, and I actually really wasn't. Was there ever music in the villa? No, there was not. Have you been on any dates with Casey since you've come out? No, we've barely spoken, as I addressed earlier. Did you know you were going to be going into the villa so last minute as a bombshell? So no, I was supposed to go in as an early bombshell and it just kept getting delayed back. Then I was obviously in holding for a while. I got told I was going in 5 times. Let's not talk about it. I got ready, hair, dress, makeup 5 times. I was at that villa site more than I was in the villa. I think I was in Maya Jama's dressing room more than she was, like no joke. I was there so much. Was about to go in and then they would say, no, we're going to move it to a little bit later on. Or like, no, today's not a good day, we're going to put you in tomorrow. So it does very much depend on what's going on in the villa and, you know, situations, arguments and all of that. So yes, 5 times I got ready to go in. So I think another question was I nervous? No, I literally wasn't at all. And everyone kept asking me this. And I don't know why. I was just not nervous at all. I don't know whether it's because I got ready 5 times to go in. Me and Keenan filmed a whole nother walk-in together. Like different outfits, different hair. We filmed like a whole another walk-in and like slow-mo and all of that. Keenan and I actually walked into the villa one night as well. So we had to like walk into the villa, but obviously the guys were in the garden so they didn't see us. So we actually like entered the villa before we properly did. So yeah, in some of them I'm just not even going to read out. Did you hear any hanky-panky in the bedroom at night? Yes. Not going to say who though. And definitely not from me. Being tagged in the clip where Claudia was like, and I've heard you two are getting frisky in bed. I didn't even realise she said that at the time. And I watched it back and I was like, sorry, there was absolutely no frisky business going on. So I just want to clarify that up. How long did you have to get ready? You literally don't know, and this was the worst thing for me. Like, I'm such a faffer. Anyone that knows me knows I like to take my time, and I'm late for everything. So yeah, you obviously didn't know how long you had. So you eat dinner before and then we all go in to get ready. So I was always like running to go in the shower first. Me and Sanam were allowed in the shower first because we had the most hair if it was hair wash day. They do kind of say to you on the vlog, like, girls, you've got 20 minutes left. So yeah, it's a different amount every night, so you can't really judge. And obviously you don't know the time, so you don't know how long you've got or how long you've had. Was there anything that you wish was shown about somebody else? I'm not sure. I mean, from my first date with Kai, so he actually friend-zoned me literally within the first like 2 minutes. So I asked him how it was going with Sanam, and he shut it down and was like, yeah, I'm really happy with her, and I'm like don't want to get to know anybody else. And that wasn't shown, and I think that's actually really unfair on him, because I think fair play, like, he should have got the credit for yeah, like sticking with Sanam and like shutting me down very quickly on that date. And then when I went back to the villa, I said to Sanam, and I was like, don't worry babe, he friend zoned me in the first 2 minutes, you've got nothing to worry about. And the only bit that was shown was the "you've got nothing to worry about." So it didn't really make sense. It kind of looked like I was going to her, "Oh, you've got nothing to worry about, I'm not interested. But, you know, Claudia, I'm interested in Casey." And that wasn't how the conversation went. It was obviously because Kai had said to me, I'm closed off. So there are things like that, how the conversation actually went versus how I've seen it's been aired is quite different. Like I've said, I've not watched it all back, so I can only comment on the clips that I've seen. And obviously I've watched my first episode back. That's the only one I've watched back. Just because I wanted to see how the dates went. Because let me tell you, the dates are the most awkward thing ever. Like when you're in the villa, you forget you're being filmed, and you genuinely do forget. When you're on those dates, you cannot forget. Like you literally cannot. No matter how amazing or beautiful the date is, you've literally got cameramen all around you, and it's very stop, start, stop, start. So like you cannot forget that there's cameras there, and it's really awkward. It makes it really intense and really awkward, especially if they kind of like butt in and tell you to change the subject or talk about this, or it just makes it really forced. This isn't really a question, but I'm going to finish on this one, which is advice for somebody going on the show. Now, my advice would be definitely think about it. Think about it once, think about it twice, think about it 3 times. The show was like amazing. I literally had the most, you know, amazing time when I was there, and the most unreal experience. But I think coming out of the show, I think you forget how things can be portrayed and how you can come across. And I'm not talking about the situation in particular, I'm just talking about as a whole. And I think that's quite challenging, is being in there and knowing like, you know, for example, Claudia and I getting on really well, and then coming out and people saying to me, you know, is it awkward between you and Claudia? When actually we get on really well, but that wasn't shown. And I think when you're in there, you forget that there are things that happen that aren't shown, and to the public, they don't get the full picture. So I think just prepare yourself for that. Kind of the only thing I'd say is don't get easily influenced or kind of like swept into things, because it's really easy to just go with the flow or like not really think about something, when actually, because there's so much going on but there's so little going on, it's really hard to describe to somebody that's not been in there. I would definitely say reach out to previous islanders as well. This is something I wish I did, just to gauge a little bit more of what it's actually like in there. Obviously you think you know what it's going to be like because you've watched it on TV, but when you're in there it's very different. So I think I would have reached out to somebody. So yeah, if anyone's considering doing it or is going on the show, then please feel free to reach out to me, because I would be more than happy just to talk to you, give some advice, because I definitely think it's worth it before going in. But yeah, apart from that, go for it. Like, it's the most unreal experience. It's a once in a lifetime opportunity. You're gonna have the most amazing time. You meet the most amazing people, and it's so bizarre. Like, I don't even feel like I've come off a TV show. It's really odd, but yeah, it's an amazing experience. So I definitely say go for it. Just process it beforehand. I think that's maybe what I didn't do. I didn't process it properly. So that's it, guys. I'm gonna end on that one because I feel like it's quite a nice quite a nice way to leave it. Thank you so much for watching. Please go and like and subscribe. This is obviously my first video. My YouTube is going to be more of like a light-hearted space, like vlogs. Come with me with what I'm doing and just hang out with me. I hate the word hang out, but I always use it. So yeah, come and hang out with me. Thanks so much for watching, guys.